how's it going? I gotta make sure, there we go. I gotta make sure no notifications pop up. Welcome back to Sydney Sweet Reads with Bustle Book Club. We have officially finished We Used to Be Friends by Amy Spaulding. It's a very bittersweet moment. Finished our first book, you guys. I'm very proud of all of us. So I definitely have a lot of questions with you guys and comments, and I'm gonna talk about chapters 10 to 13, and we finished the book. A lot happened during these chapters, which was crazy. So we'll start off, and then I'll start talking to you guys. So we started with chapter 10, which was May of senior year, and we're back in Kat's perspective. And the Burbank Leader comes out, which is like this newspaper that they had an interview for, and they're really excited because they're campaigning to be able to win prom couple. So when she gets home, Diana's over and asks if Kat would like to go prom dress shopping with her, and she agrees, and she picks out this most beautiful dress. And during so, Kat kind of has a little breakdown, missing her mom and sharing moments like these with her, which broke my heart. Later, James and Kat hangs out at Kat's Friday night, and the entire time, Kat is making this big deal out of prom and talking about all her plans with Quinn, which kind of, I think, closes James off. The night of prom, Quinn feels bad because she can't rent a car because she's too young. I hate the age limit. It doesn't make sense. So she has to drive her dad's yellow sports car, which I think is still cool, but she's embarrassed. Their prom is at the Beverly Hilton, which was really pretty. We have a lot of events there. The girls want to go to the photo booth like they always do, but Kat doesn't see James, so she texts her. And James replies, and she says she's not coming, like she's tried to explain 100 times, and she'll repay Kat for the dress. And Kat seems really disappointed and distracted the entire night because of this, and Quinn sees that, but Kat lies to her and says that everything is just fine. Later, Kat and Quinn win prom couple, which, I mean, come on, we all knew that was going to happen. If they didn't, shame on that school. They dance in front of everyone, and Kat says the only thing that she would have changed is to have James there with her. Let's see. So they got 3 hotel rooms, the girls and their couples, which I don't even know if my parents would let me. I never went to prom, so I don't know if my parents would have let me do that or not. That night, Kat starts talking about how weird James has been, and Quinn says it's probably because of her. Kat breaks down about her dad dating someone new and missing her mom, and Quinn starts to ask her questions about her mom, and so we kind of get to learn more about her and her relationship with her. And I think one of the things that I really liked that she said is that her mom taught her to never settle for cheap chocolate. I like that. I'm gonna take that. We learned that she died from cardiac arrhythmia, and she didn't even know she had it. And that definitely, when she said that made me notice everything back in the book. Whenever Kat would be like worried about her heartbeat or like counting her heartbeat, like if her mom didn't know she had it, like could this happen to her at any time? And then Quinn and Kat tell each other that they love one another. Whoa. Okay. Everyone's saying so much. Oh my god. Hi guys. So now we're in chapter 11, and it's October of senior year, and we're with James. And this chapter, so much happened, and I think that we learned so much about James and what carried her throughout the entire book and made us kind of feel more empathy towards her. So we start off with Logan texting her that the roommate is going for the weekend, and Kat invites them to go roller skating with Quinn and her friends. They sit at Quinn's table, and there's no room for James, and James hopes it's not like a thing that continues on all year. Quinn shows James her college list, which is the same as Kat's, which raises some suspicion with James. Kat is over at James eating and asking about her long-distance plan with Logan, which James didn't really know she needed, and James always has, like, tons of plans. She has her 15-year plan, and she was like, wait, is this a plan that I did not know about? her mom comes home and tells Kat she needs to go home for dinner. I could tell there's like a little of that animosity there that James mentioned at graduation, and I wish that they would have gone more into that. Like, why doesn't the mom like Kat completely? When they go roller skating, Kat asks Logan to do this couple skate with her. It seemed innocent. Me being a girl, I was like, what? Let's see. And they do the couple skate. James is already annoyed with Quinn and the girls because they're slow, and Logan makes fun of her for it. And then he takes her back to his dorm, and they, like, you know, they have love. And then we find out that he's the only guy she's been with. James goes to find Kat at a cafe to talk about the night, but Quinn is there, so she doesn't really feel comfortable saying anything. She says that she has to go because her parents think that she's at some slumber party and she doesn't want to raise any suspicion, which my parents always caught me whenever I would do that. She gets home and her mom is like, we need to talk, and they have this huge talk, and she starts it off about how she needs to add more colleges than just UCLA, and that her world's too small, and James kind of like fights back about that, and then she agrees to add more colleges like Berkeley and Michigan. And then her dad comes in, and her mom says the main thing what they were trying to talk about is that she is seeing another man named Todd, and she's moving into a house in Toluca Lake with him. Super casual. I actually used to live in Toluca Lake, so I was like, okay. James is completely broken. She feels like her entire 15-year plan is shattered, that facts just don't make sense anymore. So she goes to Logan and she breaks up with him because she never wants to, I feel, get to like her parents' point. She doesn't want Logan to ever hate her. She doesn't ever want to fall out of love. She just wants to stop it before the hurt can actually happen. And then she goes and she finds Kat at a party and tells her everything that happened. And she has a rebound hookup with Gabriel, and she passes out on the bathroom floor. When she gets home, her mom's already gone. And one of the things that she says with her dad there is, we're all alone. And that broke me. And I think that definitely explained a lot about James and what carried her throughout the entire book. Well, opposite way. So, chapter 12, it's July after senior year, and we're back with Kat. We get a nice little flashback of when they were 14 years old, and they made the whole time capsule and the letters, and when they buried it. And Kat couldn't really imagine what James would write, because James apparently has always been kind of closed off, and so when she wasn't looking, Kat snuck the letter out of the hole, and she read it every single night, like it answered questions, and questions that, like, she didn't even know were questions yet. And she felt like she was a secret keeper of James's feelings. And then we go back to present day when we find out that Quinn and James are going to Oberlin together, and Kat is college shopping for some supplies at Target, and she runs into Hannah, who used to run track with James, and Hannah says that they're going to school together, and she says all these things that Kat has never even heard about. And she realizes that she knows nothing about James's life anymore, and so she reaches out to James, and she goes over there, and she tells James that she feels like she doesn't know anything about her life. And James says that she's too selfish to ask and wouldn't understand, which breaks Kat, because Kat's like, what wouldn't I understand? My parents are broken up. One of my parents is seeing someone else. Like, we're kind of going through the same thing. And James brings up, like, my mom left and your mom died. And, like, that does not go over well. She feels like James isn't her best friend anymore, and James doesn't think so either. And so they have a really nasty ending, and they go their separate ways. And Kat checks her phone, and James never texts, and next day she never texts, and it just gets more and more normal that they don't really talk anymore. Quinn and Kat go to a baseball game, and Kat knows nothing about baseball. And as she gets more and more into the game, and she sees Quinn really into it, she starts to get into it, and she's cheering, and she gets all excited. So I liked that. I thought that was a really cute bonding moment. She asks Quinn, how are you? And it feels awkward to her, but she realizes that James' words might be helping her be a better person. When she gets home, Stacy surprises her and comes over and talks about her mom and shares a picture with her. And she shares that her mom and her used to fight all the time. They would break up and they would get back together. And it makes Kat think maybe there's hope for her and James to become friends again. So then the last chapter of the entire book, chapter 13, it's August before 12th grade, and we're back with James. And I felt like this was a really bittersweet chapter. She and Logan lay on the lawn at UCLA, and she can't wait to hopefully go to school here with her boyfriend. Kat comes home, and she rushes off to see her, who was on the East Coast helping her brother Luke settle into his dorm. And she visited Oberlin with her dad, which she fell in love with, and she wants to go there for college. She hasn't seen Maddie yet because she wanted to be with James first. And one of the things that ends the entire book that got me, James says, "I'm not sure that I'm ready for any huge changes. What I'm ready for is senior year right here with Kat. And I love that I don't have to say it. With Kat, I never have to say it. I just smile at her and she knows." You guys, that's the end. Oh, I feel like that sentence right there kind of like makes sense for everything, because James felt that Kat could basically, I mean, we're girls. We wish that guys could read our minds, friends could read our minds all the time. And so I feel like James always felt like Kat knew her without her having to say anything. And for the first time this year, Kat didn't know what was going on with James, and James felt like that connection was lost, and that breaks my heart. That breaks my heart really bad. This was such a good book. I hope you guys liked it. Thank you for doing this with me. I'm gonna read some questions from Twitter and then on here. I'm horrible at reading these username names. I'm so sorry. But from Tagged Mila, she said, "What were your thoughts on the book, how the book ended? I felt really empty reading it, almost like I had lost a friend too." I feel kind of the same way. I feel like it was a very bittersweet ending because you kind of tied in everything together, and you first start off not liking James because you don't understand where James is coming from, and then you completely understand. And then Kat, I kind of want to try reading it like in order and see if that would change how I felt. Let's see. From BB Bangs. If you were to put blame on a person, I know both Kat and James are at fault, but who do you think added to the downfall of the friendship the most? I don't know if I could pick one specific person. I think that it could be an aspect. I think it's communication. I think that communication was the biggest downfall of their relationship, and I think that's also some of the biggest downfalls of everyone's relationships is not enough communication, because communication is key. Also from BB Bangs, they said, "I'm glad Kat finally admitted that she loves attention and really wanted that prom crown." We all knew it. We all knew that's what they wanted. Bustle says, "So hard to pick sides." It is. How can you? Especially when you dive into both characters' perspectives, so you start to understand each person's side. It's hard. Camille made a playlist for We Used to Be Friends, which is awesome. So if you guys are on Twitter, I retweeted it and you could listen to it. Let's see. The fact that Kat's perfect prom dress was pink, it totally reminded me of Cassie's winter formal dress. That's cool. Montana DVK, I kind of agree with James that there wasn't really a room for her in her friendship with Kat, but I felt like it was too easy to blame Kat for everything. James has a point, but she's not 100% right. I think so too. I think, especially when you're growing up and you're trying to figure out your own life, it's hard to try and balance everything. But I do think that Kat should have maybe been open to James a little more. And then I have some more questions. So, why do you think James didn't feel comfortable going to prom? I think it was multiple things. This is from Bustle. I think that, one, James didn't have Logan, and she went to prom last year with Logan and had an amazing time, so she probably knew that she would be upset already. And then also just how Kat's been about prom and with Quinn, and even if Kat says that she really wants her there, like she would say she wanted her at parties, and then she'd get there and Kat didn't even know James was there or ask where James was. So I think James didn't want to just repeat all of that and have a really, really depressing prom. James seems to like shield herself from hurt, but she's still hurting herself. Bustle says, James and Kat's fight was pretty ugly. Kat thinks James is too closed off, and James thinks that Kat's too selfish. What's your take on the situation? Ooh, what do you guys think? I think they're both right. I think James is closed off. I think that she should have opened up more. And I think that Kat was a little selfish all year, but they each had their own reasons, so it's hard to like choose a side or figure out who was right or who was wrong. Someone says Kat was selfish as... Oh, yeah, I know. Everyone has their flaws. Yes, they do. We finally find out that James didn't want to tell Kat about her parents' divorce because she didn't want to ruin the fairy tale for Kat. Why couldn't James tell her that during their fight? I don't know. I asked that too. I was wondering why James didn't bring that up more, because you could tell that Kat always tried to keep things perfect, and James knew that, and James is very considerate about Kat's world, and I don't know why she didn't say that during their fight. I feel like that would have been a really good point, but whether or not Kat would have actually listened or believed her, that's a different thing. Especially in fights, you always are so defensive, it's hard to actually listen. Ending with the flashback didn't give us too much clarity on how things end for these two. Do you think Kat and James will be friends again in the future? I hope so. I think that there's a little bit of hope, especially when Stacey came in and told Kat about how she and her mom would fight and they'd get back together, and I think that gave Kat a little more hope to be friends with James again. But sometimes friendships grow apart, and sometimes they don't come back together. I mean, you might not be as close as you used to be, but I think that she could still, like, talk here and there and be friends and catch up. But how they used to be, I don't know if they would be. I have friends like that. It's sad. What was your favorite part of the book, or which part of the book did you relate to the most? Ooh. I love Disneyland, so I love the Disneyland, how it ended. That made me really sad, though. I think the parts that I related to the most was the whole, just the friendship falling apart, because I think that happens to everyone at some point in their life, and so when you read that, it kind of brings back this nostalgic aspect, and it's sad, but then happy and love and all of that. So I related to that, and my favorite parts were all of it. I love drama, so the fight scenes, I was like, oh yeah, feeling that. As an actor, you're like, oh man. Let's see. It was nice to get to know each of their flaws and why it was so difficult for the both of them to communicate properly. I wanted to protect them both at all costs. That's from Ruse Feels. Aw, I wanted to protect them too. Bustle sips tea. Did you like reading this book and talking about it with us? I loved it. I loved it so much. Okay, you guys, so I would read the chapters. I would take, these are sloppy notes on the chapters, and then I would make nice notes to talk with you guys. it was really fun. It brings me back to school. It gives me something to do. I love talking with you guys. I also love reading. So it's been a lot of fun. Let me try and find us a few more, and then I think that's it. So I'm someone who has plans like James, but the fact that she totally destroyed everything she was trying to achieve once her parents separated, I can't relate. It did mean she had to break up with Logan or give up on UCLA. Yeah, I think that was a really, really big decision that she irrationally just made. But I think that can happen all the time. I've done that before quite often. You just like react and you don't really think it through until later. I think it was interesting that the book ended right before senior year. And them discussing how they thought the year was going to go and them being all happy. I know. I think that was such a beautiful way to actually end the book and tie it all together. So, yeah. You guys, this has been so much fun. Well, we finished the book. We read it all. You guys can always reread and rewatch these videos on Bustle's page. And thank you. I hope you guys are all staying safe and healthy, and I miss you and I love you all. And I have a surprise next week. I'm actually going to go live again, but with Amy. And you guys can talk to the writer of the book. You can ask her questions, and I think it'd be really fun to just kind of dive into a little more. So if you have questions, just tweet them or send them my way, and I'll write them down so that we can all talk with her. And yeah, let's send me some ideas for another book, because I really like this, and I miss you. Bye, guys.